Hi, my name is Dave Reske, CEO of Now Speed Marketing, and welcome to this edition of Marketing in the Now, where we talk about the best ideas of digital marketing. And my guest today is Ernie Harker, the author of Your Brand Sucks, How to Ignite a Brand That Doesn't. And he's also a popular keynote speaker and a brand consultant. Ernie, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, David.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. I should add that in addition to your consulting, you also offer an online course in
I
AI
do.
for marketing. So we can talk about
Yeah.
getting into all of that through the course of this conversation.
Awesome.
But can you just give our listeners a little bit of background, just a short summary of how you got to this place?
Yeah, you know what? Like most people, we end up probably not where we thought we would start, in our starting point. I started as an illustrator.
Wow.
I studied illustration in college and I got a job working as a storyboard artist and a concept artist for an ad agency. In that experience, I learned about brand development and consistent creative messaging and coming up with things that stand out and help you be identifiable and recognizable. So that led me through a process of design, from illustration to design to creative direction, then marketing direction, then brand development. And so now here I am as a brand development guy that has, over the past 3 years, gotten very, very involved in AI because as an illustrator, I garnered a tremendous amount of value from that because most people could not draw well or illustrate or whatever. So if you could describe it, I could illustrate it. Well, when you find out that AI can create what you can describe, your value disappears as an illustrator. So if you can describe it and you can get what you want, why would you even hire me? So I had to figure out how I was going to kind of react and respond to this AI thing. A lot of my creative friends are like, AI is the devil. AI is wrong. It's morally wrong. It steals. And I'm like, all those things could be true. Nevertheless, it's here and we got to do something with it. So I dove in and I started using it consistently. And as the tools improved, my production capacity for my clients improved. And it's so exciting and so fun to use that even though it's my competitive advantage right now, leveraging AI to produce marketing materials, I share it with everybody because it's so fun. It's so empowering. And I think all boats rise in a rising tide. I want more people to learn how to use AI the right way so we actually get much better marketing. So that's where I am today.
Yeah, that's super exciting, and I love that. I love your journey
Uh-huh.
through, your illustration experiences. Because it's so funny how life brings us through all these experiences, was we never really know how we're going to leverage that later on. So
Yeah.
you're making great use of it, and I think, we're going to talk a lot more about using AI for branding and design. But I would imagine that the skills you had in translating needs into what you're drawing are
Yeah.
some of the same skills you're using now to translate needs into what AI is producing for you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we're going to get into more about that. But the topic we've got today and what you and I have been talking about is how to leverage AI for branding and design. And I've had a lot of conversations, just like you, with people who are like, it sucks, it's never going to be good, or it is the devil, right? So both of those things could be true. But what's your experience? What's the state of the art right now in what's happening with AI in branding and design? How are people
Yes.
using it today?
So I think I'll tell you how people I think are using it wrong, and then I'll kind of explain how I think people are starting to use it right. One is AI has been able to drastically improve the content of most people universally. They're able to write better. They're able to create better images. They're over the past, I would say, 8 months, the tools have become so good, like ChatGPT's image generator. A year ago, it it was awful, and now it's phenomenal. Um, it's and because kind of these tools have made it easier to create really good stuff, everybody's using the same platform, getting universally good results, which means nobody is standing out anymore. So I think that's how people are using it wrong. What I'm an advocate of is it's very easy to train like a large language platform to understand your brand strategy. If you've defined your brand strategy, to start getting content and responses from like ChatGPT, Grok, whatever your favorite flavor of large language models is, you can get content that is on brand, that is distinctively you, that can't be easily recognized as AI generated. And I think that's where people need to start shifting, because one of the things that I get frustrated with is people are reading stuff and they go, oh, that's AI. And they immediately discredit it. Even though the content is actually really good, they identify the telltale signs of AI generation and they discredit it. And now, is that right or wrong? It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. That's what's happening. So in order to get your message across, not only do you need to use AI, you need to just camouflage it so people don't know you are using AI. And the easiest way to do that is to train it with, I use a custom GPT that recognizes the strategy of my brand and can produce consistent content that is on brand. Using, like, one of the things I do to help do that is I use vocabulary that is not something that's common. In my marketing, I'm very candid and colloquial and off the cuff. So I've trained my GPT to use words like awesome, killer, stoked, wicked, things that ChatGPT would never put in there. But because that's what I've trained my GPT to do, when someone's reading content that I've produced with the assistance of AI, it's much, much more difficult to identify, the collaborative source.
Yeah.
So
That's a great example of how to get the tone and the voice into your content. Let's take you mentioned brand strategy. I just want to
yeah,
spend a few minutes on that, because
yeah.
I'm wondering if, in your experience, AI can help develop a strategy, or if this is still a particularly human thing that human creative people and human marketers need to own, the brand
Mhm.
strategy, or maybe more broadly, the marketing strategy. But let's talk about the brand strategy for a second.
Yeah.
What's the role of AI today in helping develop a brand strategy? Or is it really a matter of humans create the brand strategy and then you need to have AI adhere to the brand strategy?
I'm an advocate of AI being involved in everything,
Hmm.
just because it's so powerful, it's so useful. And so I wouldn't I wouldn't say, oh, we got to do this humanly first and then bring it to AI. AI is a phenomenal collaborator. I work with a lot of like fuel and gas station businesses. I've helped water brands. I've helped dentists. Okay, these clients, they produce the exact same product and service as their competitors. There's no difference. Like, water is freaking water. Like, the differences are measured in the parts per million. So I'm telling you, your dental practice or your small business or your service, there's way more differences there. One of the things that you've got to do, like in a human way, is to, instead of using AI for this part, I would say, help identify what it is that makes your brand, not your business, extremely unique. And I'd love to use themes to help express the differences. Kind of like, I think a good example would be professional basketball. The professional basketball industry, their product and service of all the competing teams is exactly the same. We have players, and our job is to put the ball in the hoop more than the other guys. Every team has the exact same product. They have different features at times in the players. And so they're constantly working on the recipe to change that player. But those players don't always stay with the teams. So how do you create a brand for a team that has the exact same product and service as the other guys. And if you look at what the brands, those teams have done, like the Houston Rockets, like the Rockets have nothing to do with basketball. The San Antonio Spurs, like I've never seen a basketball player wear Spurs. And every brand really is highlighting the thing that makes them different. And that's their origin. And they highlight their origin. They create a story, a theme around their origin, not their product. And I think most businesses, they are so hyper-focused on their product, they forget the story that would make them different. And so that's a human thing. AI wouldn't know about your history. They wouldn't know about your like ethos. They wouldn't know about your, what do the owners love? What inspires them and excites them? It could be adventure. It could be camping. It could be golf. I don't know. But you can create themes that help your business stand out and be recognized against all the other people. And then you take that and you go, okay, I'm going to inform AI.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the examples you shared, water, basketball, because as a digital marketing agency, I'm always thinking about positioning and differentiation. And we have way more differentiation ideas than points than, water or basketball. Yet, many of those brands do a great job of that. So I love you talking about the history and the origin. So what you're saying, I think, is that you've got to uniquely find out what those key ideas are. Either it's the origin story or the owners or something about them
Mm-hmm.
that makes them different or unique, and create a story around that. And that you can then collaborate with AI to help turn that story or those ideas, those concepts, wherever there's many ways it can come from, into then a brand. Is that how you're
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
right.
describing the
That's right.
process?
Because
Yeah.
if you can describe the brand, like I have in my book, Your Brand Sucks, I have 4 different like primary positions. And that is like find your brand spark. That's the catalyst. That's the unique difference. And that spark kind of informs the theme. So find your brand spark, identify your target customer. Like who is it that you are absolutely targeting? And every time I consult with somebody, they try so hard to have as wide a net as possible.
Hmm.
They do not want to focus. And I remember I was working with Chuck Norris's C-Force water brand, and I was talking to the sales guy, and the sales guy was like really pushing back. He was a brilliant guy. He was really pushing back on this. Let's target our customer. Who do we really want to target? And he goes, Ernie, everybody buys water. I'm like, I get it. And then it hit me, and I thought, are you interpreting when I say we need to focus on a target market that you think I'm saying we shouldn't sell to everybody? He's like, that's what you're saying. And I go, no. Sell to everybody, market to a few. Because we don't have unlimited budgets. And every time you focus on a specific market, it costs money. And if you go, I'm going to go after, seniors, that's going to cost money. Oh, I'm going to go after moms. That's going to cost money. Oh, I'm going after teenagers. That's going to cost a lot of money. So if you're going after everybody, nobody has the dollars to be able to market to everybody. So you find the ones that are most likely to want your product and service and pay for it, and you make them fall in love with you.
So if the sell to market to maybe soccer moms, or maybe even more
Yeah.
specific than
Yeah.
that, but then let the teenagers buy it and
Absolutely.
if they want to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
good. All right. So take me back to that. That's good thinking and marketing and positioning. But how does that work with AI? Where does AI come into the process?
Awesome. Now imagine I was able to describe a very clear brand strategy. And that would be like, okay, this is what our product, or this is the name of our company. This is the products and services that we offer. This is who we target, and then be very specific. We're looking for 18 to 45-year-old men who work out of a truck and buy gasoline daily. They're not calorie conscious. They love energy drinks and burritos. Just Dive in. It's like, this is the lifestyle. They love sports, beer, sex, you know, whatever. It be as descriptive as you can. That's your target customer. Then, like, um, we want our customers to feel this emotion after having an interaction with our brand. Now, the reason that's important is that if people believe in like brain science at all, they'll learn that 95% of all purchase decisions are emotionally based. Well, if we're selling through information, like here's the products and services we offer, and here's the value we offer. If we're not infusing that message with an emotional response, then we're selling to 5% of the population. Mm-hmm. We need to embed those facts, that offer, into an emotional environment. So what's great about large language models is if you tell it, this is the emotion we want our customers to experience when consuming our content, it can go to work and it can craft the message that will elicit that response. So that's the emotion. And then it's like, one of the things I like to do is, if our brand were a professional actor or influencer, what would the voice and personality be? And so for me, and you want it to be really unique. So for me, on my GPT, it says the Dos Equis most interesting man in the world and Bob Ross, because my background is creative and it's kind of lighthearted and whimsical. So if those two had a brand baby, that I want that to be me. That's the intersection of my brand. It's funny, it's silly, but it's also really interesting and dramatic. That's in the world of marketing and branding, that's probably a pretty unique kind of tone and language. So you put that in there, and then of course you attach your brand guide, which is your colors, logos, fonts, all of those things. And now you have a comprehensive, very unique brand strategy that informs a GPT or a large language model another thing I do is I use words and phrases like, and I don't use words and phrases like quality, service, value, because everybody does. I use words and phrases like that because those are describing the product and not the brand. And I know the product is part of the brand, but my brand, it's called Earn Burn. I have a flaming E as a logo. And so I use words and phrases like ignite, spark, light, fire. And what happens is, when I get a response after entering a prompt in my large language model, it'll say something like, instead of, hey, Ernie would like to begin a conversation with you about the opportunity to speak at your event. Okay, that's exactly what ChatGPT and any other large language model would say. But when it's filtered through my GPT, it says, Ernie would like to ignite a few ideas with you about speaking at your event because he wants to create an inferno of excitement. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's not what AI would typically write.
See, that whole process you described, Ernie, is hugely powerful, because I think where most people really get this wrong is they put in general, when they're using AI as a thought partner, they put in general kind of comments, and AI will give them all of the options possible.
Yeah.
Because it's very thorough. It knows so much, right? So it gives them so many things. But it sounds like what you're doing is by focusing it and constraining it one step at a time on the emotions, the language, the brand colors, all these other things, the words that you want to say and not say. You're kind of constraining it to that brand strategy. Then it will really give you results that are much more specific, and not just gives you everything that's possible. It's going to give you the things that are consistent with where you're going as a brand.
That's right. That's right.
Is that a good way to describe it?
It's not just good, it's great.
Yeah. and it's powerful because it's really you and it's really what you've got. So how
Yeah.
do you
Yep.
teach? Now you teach a course on this. You have a
hmm
courseware on this.
hmm
How do you teach people to kind of go through this process? Is it as simple as, hey, listen to this podcast episode, take these prompts, I'm all set to go, or is there kind of more to it in becoming a brand strategist and a brand developer
Yeah.
with AI? How do you
I,
kind of
I
walk
wish
through
it was that
people?
easy.
Yeah.
What's kind of interesting is the process is simple. It's universal. Brand development is very simple and universal, but it's very challenging to get the breakthrough required to get deep enough to understand like a brand spark, the unique catalyst to serve as their brand. And here's why. For generations, if you're in a family-owned business for generations, there has become, and every business I talk to, every business I talk to, I go, hey, what makes your business different? And they say, it's our quality, it's our service, it's our people. And I'm like, you are so full of crap. You have been believing this. And I challenge that because I'll ask, are your competitors saying the same thing? Or are they saying, because you may be right. If your competitors are saying, look, our quality's crap, but the other guys, their quality's awesome. Our service is garbage. But everybody knows if you want really good service, you go to those guys. Okay, now, if that were the case, then I would believe you. But I'm telling you, most of your competitors are saying quality, service, our people. So what I ask people to do is like, we've got to go deeper than that. We've got to dig deeper. It's like, what is truly unique about you that nobody else in your competitive space can say? And most people don't get deep enough. They just, oh, I don't know. I don't know. And so, much like we need a therapist, we all need therapists. A therapist can help us see our blind spots. They sense when you're not digging deep enough, and they'll probe a little bit more. And so that's what I offer as a consultant to help people break through the same think. And because I'm a graphic designer, illustrator, marketing guy, I know how to create the visual cues to highlight that difference.
Hmm.
If my difference is, oh, you know what, we're super family friendly. We're actually nostalgic family friendly, like that old good feeling when you're with your parents and your grandparents. That's the feeling that we want people to have. And that's what our family is all about. That's what our business is all about. And I go, great. I know exactly how to create a library of visual references and verbal references that you can use in your brand. So that when you say we offer ABC services, you're serving that on a plate, a branded plate that is highly unique. It's about hanging out with grandpa and grandma, having a picnic, whatever that is, that theme is. You present the information on the plate of the theme so that when people see that information, that offering, they go, "Oh, I love this." The origin from where these offers are coming from. I'm emotionally engaged with that offering.
Yeah, I love that way of thinking about it. As you talked about understanding your competitive differentiation, one of the things I
Mm-hmm.
have done with AI is asked it for clients to basically do market research or
Yeah.
positioning research, right? So,
Yeah.
what are the key purchase criteria for the customers that I'm going after for my target persona, and how do I rank on those things versus my
Mm-hmm.
competitors? And then it looks through things like quality, price, service, and maybe tons of other
Mm-hmm.
factors, and
Mm-hmm.
it'll give my clients kind of a view of here, AI thinks you're, and this is part of our GEO service, generative engine optimization. So it'll help understand whether or not the information from the LLMs is accurate about you. Is it
Mm-hmm.
saying the right things about quality, price, and service? So I'm not doing it from a brand strategy. I'm doing it from a GEO service.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
if you could find out what the market thinks about you in those
Mm-hmm.
dimensions, is that helpful to kind of identify your brand positioning, or is it more you have to come through this process differently as you
Yeah.
described?
So I'll give you a quick story about that. I was working with a car company, an auto dealership. They're a Mazda dealership, and they wanted to help with their brand. It was they were growing, and their brand was associated with their location. Bountiful Mazda. Well, they have three different locations now in different cities. Bountiful, the city, is not going to do it. It's like you're going to be advertising, promoting one location when you have three. So they said, hey, we need some help with our brand. And I had a small agency at the time. And so we did a bunch of market research. We went out. I had 8 people on my team. 4 of them were women. 4 of them were guys. And we went out and we interviewed and we secret shopped. We interviewed people who had just bought a car, who were shopping at cars. We pretended we were buying cars. And we came back about a month later and reviewed notes. And these women would say, that is the worst experience of my life. I am treated like garbage. Hey, sweetheart. Hey, sweetie. Hey, cutie. Hey, when your husband's ready to take a really good look at this car, why don't you bring him back? So they were completely discrediting these women, making them feel less than. And I'm like, this is universal across every dealership we went and surveyed. And so I thought, okay, what if this dealership that I was consulting with became the place where women buy cars? Not just where women buy Mazdas, because there's a huge need to create an experience for women that is tailored to that demographic. Because I believed, I still do, by the way, that if a woman who's looking for a Subaru heard a radio commercial or heard a testimonial that said, oh my gosh, this was a completely unique experience for me. This is where women buy cars. So this company would have a reputation where women buy cars. I found out like how many cars were sold in our market. And then I go, how many of them were sold to women? About half of the cars were sold to women.
Hmm.
Okay. So I went to this guy that I was doing marketing research for, this client. And I said, look, I'm telling you, if you got 1 out of every 100 cars sold to women in our market, 1, it would grow your business 600% like that. But you'd have to create an experience that is authentically female-centric. And so we brainstormed, what would that look like? One of the things was, okay, when women come in and they shop, they're not buying, they're shopping. They want to explore. They want to see the options. They want to come in and browse. They want to bring their friends back. They also need a place for their kids. If they're going to come in, a place for their kids to be able to hang out with. So that means you have to have a professional daycare, not just a kid place. So a supervised daycare. You need to have a hostess that greets people and is not pushy at all. You'd have to train all your salespeople to change the way they do business. If you did, you would get 600% more sales. He's like, okay, well, I got to think, this is a big change because this guy has been in the business for a long time. And I'm getting excited. I'm thinking about I'm actually sketching out this beautiful environment with greenery and I could imagine like a little shopping area where you put you have little local knickknacks and gifts that while they're waiting for their car to be serviced, they can just do a little bit of shopping too. I had this beautiful plan. 2 weeks later, we meet and he says, there's no way we could do it. It's just way too outside of who we are. And so the answer to your question is, if it doesn't come from in here, you will not be able to sustain it.
Yeah.
If you said, this is what the market needs, and your company's guy going, I don't know, I guess we have to do it. That's the prescription. It takes so much effort and time and energy to create a brand that if it's not from the soul of the founders or the principal executives, there is no way it can last.
So your brand strategy really has to come from who you are. And so
Yeah.
I think what I hear you saying is that the brand strategy is essentially I think it's a core human activity
Yeah.
It comes from brilliant people like you that can help
Hmm.
drive this. But
Yeah.
it's enabled increasingly by effective use of AI that can help leverage those ideas and take them deeper,
Yeah.
faster, and with better quality uh,
Yeah.
than it used to be done in the past.
Yeah.
So fascinating process. It sounds
Yeah.
like you're in deep, and it's you offer Ernie courses in this. You do public
Hmm.
speaking in this. What's the best way for people to reach out to you and learn more about this and some of your services or
The
connect with you?
easiest way to get to with me is on my website, earnburn.com, ERNBURN. My brother, I have a twin brother, and in high school, he wanted to be a rapper. And so he was always like, earn, burn, the butter churn. And it was either going to be earn, burn, or butter churn. Earn, burn won out. He came and visited me at an ad agency I was first working at, and he called me Earn Burn. The creative directors, the art director, everybody was like, Earn Burn. Oh, my wife is still known today as Wendy Byrne because Earn Burn stuck like crazy glue. So earnburn.com.
So you got Earn Burn. Did he get butter churn? Is that what
No,
happened?
no, his name's Emo. His like nothing rhymes with emo except for evil.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
That's all right. Well, anyway, Ernie, this is a great conversation. We'll certainly put all those links in the notes.
Awesome.
I'm glad you're in deep into AI and strategy, and I think this conversation is going to help a lot of people. Thank you very
Awesome.
much.
Thank you. And thank you for pushing the automation. That's where we need to go. That's the next level. And I'm following you to make sure that I'm picking up those pieces.
That's going to be our next conversation. All right. Thanks, Ernie. Enjoy.
You bet. Thank you.
Take care.